Good evening, Africa. Happy Africa Day. Coming to you live from the Kingdom of Eswatini at the National Museum, Umsamo Wesive. My name is Imlan Vumamba. I am the project manager for Africa Day Eswatini, proudly hosted by the African Women's Peace and Development Foundation. I would like to welcome you all to our official panel discussion on this year's theme of arts, culture, and heritage, levers for building the Africa we want. With me, I have a few distinguished guests who are going to be engaging in a discussion with me about our arts, culture, and heritage, but more so from the educational perspective to see what we can teach to the young people and what we are currently doing and what we also hope to achieve. On my right, I have Ms. Phumzile Hlophe, who is the Secretary General for UNESCO Commission to Eswatini, and next to her is a celebrated musician from the country, Sans, and on my immediate left we have Tobile Makoyane, who is a traditional instrument player, and next to her is Mrs. J.M. Dlamini, former school teacher, retired school teacher. So they will be giving us some comments and some statements on the theme based on their backgrounds. So our panel discussion will be on how can Africa benefit from enriching its education curriculum by including arts, culture, and heritage studies at the early school level. So without any further ado, I would like to call upon Mage Hlophe to introduce herself and briefly tell us her views from the perspective of UNESCO in terms of the just above mentioned theme. Welcome, Mage Hlophe. How are you feeling?
I'm okay. Thank you so much, Program Director, Mr. Mlando.
Did you enjoy the celebrations that were ongoing that side?
Very well. The time was just too limited. We should have continued dancing with sons.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So, since you are based at UNESCO, which deals with education, cultural and scientific knowledge in a global sphere, but particularly in Eswatini, we would like to find out from you, what do you think about having African countries incorporate arts, culture, and heritage into their formal school systems? If any are doing so, do you think it's working, or should we just leave it as a pastime for the artists to continue and people just learn informally?
Thank you so much. Incorporating culture, arts, and heritage studies in the school curriculum is a good thing for several reasons. And it's worth mentioning that we are currently doing that. Okay, let me just take you through what I've just jotted down. Okay. Currently, there is more and more information available that shows that crucial arts, culture, and heritage integration in education is to creating well-rounded, well-prepared, and learners. Strengthening any student's sense of belonging in arts in an educational institute can only serve to further equip the students to succeed. For indigenous cultures around the world, formal education has had no place in their history. Yet indigenous knowledge systems account for people's cultural heritage. Furthermore, educational institutes were developed to give people the skills and knowledge they would need in the world. Surely this encompasses an understanding of self, heritage, and environment. An inclusion of local culture and heritage is therefore essential in any educational setup around the globe, Africa being inclusive. Most educational citizens around the globe are founded on European models. In fact, in many countries, it was the settlers or the colonialists that introduced formal education. Hence, the absence of indigenous knowledge, which is usually passed informally from generation to generation. This is changing as today, as we find that most African countries have incorporated culture, arts, and heritage studies in their curriculum, from preschool to tertiary level. For example, here in Eswatini, the inclusion of arts education in primary school curricula backdates to post-independence in the 1970s. It was referred to as arts and crafts. You were not born by that time.
Yes, definitely not.
However, it had a short lifespan, underline that, and fell out of the curriculum. The reasons were it was considered to be inferior when compared to academic subjects. In 1985, a National Education Curriculum Review Commission was undertaken. Subsequent to that, numerous stakeholders' consultations were made, and the issue of development of arts and culture skills in the curriculum was emphasized as articulated in the 1996 Ministry of Education Skills for the Future document. The Commission recommended that the subject be reintroduced. It was reintroduced in the curriculum in 2005 as practical arts at the primary level. Currently, the curriculum is undergoing reform from an objective-based education to a competency-based education, which is progressively being implemented, and a new learning area in the arts, as we speak, reached grade 3, where we have a standalone subject known as expression arts. Grade 3 pupils are introduced into expression arts subject.
Okay.
Yes. Expression arts encompasses performance arts and visual arts. It is envisaged that it will be scaled up to the secondary level as articulated by the National Curriculum Framework of 2018. It is worth noting that due to the vacuum that was there in this area, there is a need to train teachers who will teach the different art genres and incorporating culture in the process. Another reason is why we should incorporate arts, culture, and heritage in education is arts can change the learning experience. When well told, the arts provide young people with authentic learning experiences that engage their minds, their hearts, and their bodies. The learning experiences are real and meaningful to them. While learning in other disciplines may often focus on development of a single skill or talented, the arts regularly engage multiple skills and abilities. Engagement in the arts, whether the visual arts, dance, music, theater, or other disciplines, nurtures the development of cognitive, social, and personal competencies. Inclusion of arts, culture, and heritage studies leaves no one behind. the arts-rich students who are not always being reached. Young people who are disengaged from school and other community institutions are at the greatest risk of failure or harm or destroyed. Researchers argue that arts provide a reason, and sometimes the only reason for being engaged with school or other organizations. These young people would otherwise be left without access to any community of learners. The arts-rich students in ways that they are not otherwise being reached. Young people who are considered classroom failures, perhaps acting out because conventional classroom practice are not engaging them, nor meeting their needs and inclinations. These so-called problem students often become high achievers in the art learning settings. Success in the arts can become a bridge to learning and eventually success in other areas of learning. Arts connect students to themselves and each other. Creating an artwork is a personal experience. The student draws upon his or her personal resources to generate result. By engaging his or her whole person, the student feels invested in many ways that are deeper than knowing the answer. Art, culture, and heritage education transform the environment for learning, thus making it conducive, motivating, interesting. When they become central to the learning environment, schools and other settings become places of discovery. The very school culture is changed, and the conditions for learning are improved. Figurative walls between classrooms and disciplines are broken down. Teachers are renewed. Even the physical appearance of a school building is transformed through the representations of learning. Arts, culture, and heritage studies provide learning opportunities for the adults in the lives of young people. Those held responsible for development of children and youth, such as teachers, parents, and other adults who are well-versed or who knows, maybe let's say that we are teaching the students how to dance. We can call a community member to come to the school to teach the students. This really, it's really given sufficient and opportunities for their own continuing education. With adults' participation in lifelong learning, young people gain an understanding that learning in any field is a never-ending process. The roles of adults are also changed. In an effective programs, the adults become coaches, active facilitators of lifelong learning. Inclusion of culture also promotes complexity in the learning experience. Students who might otherwise complain of boredom become fully challenged. Unlike other learning experiences that seek right or wrong answers, engagement in the arts allows for multiple outcomes. Effective learning in arts is both complex and multi-dimensional. The other aspect is that arts connect learning experience to the world of real work. The world of adult work changes, and the arts learning experiences show remarkable consistency with the evolving workplace. Ideas are what matter, and the ability to generate ideas, to bring ideas to life, and to communicate them is what matters to workplace success. Working in a classroom or a studio as an artist, the young person is learning and practicing future work, place behaviors at the same time. The other aspect is that culture promotes cultural diversity. Arts, culture, and heritage education connects students with their own culture as well as with the wider world, hence it promotes cultural diversity. Students learn and appreciate other cultures at a tender stage. It is evidence. This is evident during cultural commemoration days. During our times, we used to have cultural commemoration days in schools, at university levels, wherever we are, where we appreciate other people's cultures. So in that way, it promotes cultural diversity. It also promotes sense of belonging. In order for indigenous students to succeed within the education system, it is vital that students are able to develop a sense of belonging, which is considered as an essential human need. To develop belonging, a student needs to find commonalities within their own life and living around situations. They need to see similarity with their own context. The inclusion of cultural practice within education curriculum can develop this sense of belonging. For some students, it will be the sense of familiarity that they respond to. For others, it will be the age-old human desire to know where they come from that will attract them. Providing the opportunity for a student to know oneself and one's heritage will ensure that students develop a strong sense of identity, leading to greater self-confidence. Reference made during lessons to culture and heritage will serve to continuously enhance a student's sense of belonging, and it will provide a deeper meaning and understanding to that particular lesson. As I wind up, I can say Africa can benefit a lot from enriching education with arts, culture, heritage, and heritage studies by enabling children at a younger age, at a tender age, to identify their talents, nurture them, and in turn become active economic players, which will contribute to the continent's economic growth and development. It can also enable young people across the continent to understand, appreciate, and uphold their cultural heritage, which is a very important aspect in developing one's identity and cultural aspect. Children within the continent can be provided a platform to showcase their talents, share their cultural heritage, and have a better understanding of the different cultures in the region and how they connect with those in the globe as global citizens.
Yes.
This can also create space for the region to showcase its talent, culture, and heritage to the global community and create an environment to market the region and create wealth. It can also provide a platform for intercultural exchange to create an awareness of the different cultures that exist and how they can make us unique as Africans, and the importance of cultural diversity and tolerance. I thank you.
Oh, thank you, Margaret Lope. That's a very enlightening statement that you have given us here. Also, I like the fact that you referenced that arts, it actually transforms the learning experience, which would maybe attract other students who were not interested in art some of them babita ngemahlongandlebe, so because you're an artist, you're acting up, and I like that you mentioned that. And then otherwise these children would be drawn away from education when they were labeled that. But if the communication was more, or the education was more friendly, then that would improve. Okay. After your remarks, Mari, I would also like to get the view of an educator who has worked with some of these children before, to find out from her experience in working maybe also with some kids who are artistic, and also her efforts to try and incorporate arts and cultural activities into her teaching methods, to find out as a teacher or as a former teacher, what was your experience within the education system, and what challenges did you face, or what successes did you have by involving some elements of art into your everyday teaching methods? Magid Lamini, the one is posed to you. I would like you to also just start off by just introducing yourself and your background as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mlando. I thank you for inviting me to take part in this honorable undertaking for a noble cause, which is Africa Day Eswatini. I'm very humbled. I am Make or Mrs. Jabulile Dlamini from Enyakeni, and Chief Prince Malunge, and I don't know if I can say my father-in-law. Usually they say you're punished for that, but let me say out, he is Mvanengosi Membiwa in Enyagen. So I've taught for 39 years, since 1978 January till my retiring. So, well, you can count, when did I retire? So my experience working, teaching young children at an early level, it can be incredibly rewarding and raises its own unique challenges to that of a secondary environment. This is because the teaching deals with the children who are between 6 to 12 years of age. So this needs, for one, to be a greater teacher. In fact, when you have to be with those young ones, you have to have some qualities. Without those qualities, you can find that you will make them end as street kids. So you need patience. You need caring. You need confidence building. You need sense of humor. You need also to passionate, especially passionate is very, very important, that you have to give them love. They must feel that they're in the class, and you, as a center of attraction to them, they should feel that I just feel like not going back home, because it seems here I get the mother that can take care of me, that enjoys to be with me. So if you don't show them, really you'll find them the following day or any other day, they will never come to school. So, according to me, I used to take their level. I used to be, when it is time for them to do some plays or whatever, I would play with them. We would talk, anything we want to talk, I would just give them the platform to just feel free with everything. So they would always come to school, and my register was always clean. And I remember one time my head teacher called me and said, "You mean to say no child is ever absent at school?" And I said, "True. You can go to them, or you can talk to the parents. They know who they are." So even the parents at times would complain, saying that, "Hey, Mrs. Lamini, you know what? They wake up early in the morning. They want to go to school. When we are not ready, they are ready. They keep time." So I used to tell them that time is very important. Break time, they would go out and play with the others. But before the bell goes, they are checking because they want to be with me. So they would quickly come back to class and would continue. You know, I would be very fast with the syllabus, and I would make them understand. So I had no problem because they would understand me. So at this early level, you have the formal education is very important very important as a knowledge to enhance the students' skills, capitalizing on motivating curiosity to improve their awareness and understanding how their environment works. So it means the learning there include classroom structure. It means the teacher there has to keep an eye in everything that is going on. You have to be with the kids all the time and supervise, because at times you give them art, they would do the art, drawing, maybe doing some paintings. So when they were doing all those, they were to be supervised and under guidance. So here you find that the child learns the basic art and sciences, teaching the usage of these two subjects in their everyday life. So as a teacher, I would make my children that they would be kind of people who would enjoy the classroom structure work, and children who will be able to do whatever I want them to do. I would put everything, improvise, make them alive, that they were able to move free in the classroom. They had that freedom to do whatever they wanted at the time while I was there. At times I would leave them, give them work, please do this. I would just go out and just look at the window if they're following. So I would find that out of that, I was making some leaders. So I found that it was very good for them to be there, supervising, doing that work, doing that. So they would just tell the others. Some of them would just say, "Hey, teacher said you must do this. Don't do that." You see, if I gave them homework to do at home, the parents would suffer a lot, because if they try to help them, they'll say, no, you are so harsh. and you beat us. So we don't want that. They would come to me and report, "Make ungishaye ngengwembe, teacher." Oh, okay. So working with me was so good with them. I really enjoyed my 39 years. I enjoyed it very much with them.
Okay, well, I hear you, but I want to find out from you if you would encourage, maybe if you have grandchildren now, for them to actually go through the education system as it is, with the inclusion of arts and culture into the system in a more formal way. Because I remember when we were still in primary school, we used to do things, but it wasn't in our system. It was from like the Ministry of Health. They used to introduce programs, and then as school children, then we would be incorporated. But we didn't have like a formal thing that, okay, this is school, like, you know, on Tuesdays we're doing arts, crafts, and heritage. So you find that we have small groups. Do you think it should be introduced? Yes, and yeah, I want to find out that. Like as a formal thing, as a component, like Mama alluded to here, that now it's at grade 3 level, they have expressive arts, and I'm sure before you retired, I don't think it was a component then. Do you agree with what is happening now? Is it a good way to include it?
I think it is, including the culture and arts. I think it is. Maybe I can just elaborate a bit that culture is at the axis of the evolution of all nations of the world. Socially, you find that is from South Pole to the North Pole. So as individuals, I believe we are what we eat more than anything, but nations of the world, importantly, we are our different cultures more than anything else. So culture is therefore our identity. So this then brings us to the question of whether or not Africa should push more arts, culture, and heritage. So I want to believe that we all know that all three go perfectly well if hand in hand. They are interrelated. So the answer is therefore yes.
Okay, wow.
Africa should push for more arts, culture, and heritage to be able to leave monumental footprints on the sands of time for future generations.
On that note of
I don't know if I'm
leaving a
answering your
footprint
question.
of the sense of time, yes, I heard you perfectly. Just like the way that it linked, because our artist who's on the side here, his sense of time, and he has tried to leave a footprint on the world through his music. So I don't know what his background was. I don't know if in primary school he had arts and culture as a subject, or how did you get into the arts scene, and did you study at school? Would you have had a better experience if it was in school, or is it better that maybe you learned it yourself? Because I remember later on when I met you, you used to attend, I think it was Yanza Music School, but that was a later initiative. You were already a young adult at that time. But I don't know, like as a child, how did it start for you?
To formally introduce myself, I'm Sans, a local musician. When I was at school, we had choral music.
Okay.
So choral music played, as much as, as a kid, you'd be shy to actually, take it as a major thing that can actually be a career in the future, But it did play quite a huge role into introducing me as a young child to the fundamental elements of music, you know. And I mean, it didn't, it made it easier that, you know, when I grew up, went to high school. In high school, I wasn't really partaking in choral, but in primary, you were forced.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you can't sing a note to save your life, you know. But later on, it made it easier for me to just choose music instantly as a career and venture into studying it further, as much as I was in a society that didn't have anyone who's actually made it a formal career, you know, especially in Swaziland, you know. So it was quite a challenge to convince your parents, to convince the society, your friends, that you actually want to make this a career, you know. But we've made it possible. So I think that part of choral, I mean, you would wish that there are more types of art that are introduced at that level, because we're living in times where now we've seen it is possible to actually use it as a career, no matter which part of art it is. And the earlier it is introduced to a child, the better. Because maybe some children are not that academically, you know, gifted into maths, into whatever subject, you know. But if there is art, you might find that the child is the best when it comes to that. You know, we are all gifted, different gifts. So I think it would play a major role to actually introduce all forms of arts into primary levels, and the kids grow up and have quite a lot of choices in terms of careers than just the academics only.
Okay. There's you're making some very good points there, Sans. With the fact that even though we may sometimes perceive as that like it's not really in the schools, it is. It's just it's in different forms. You find that only as a little bit, because some other schools they have like ummiso as a component. It's an extracurricular activity. But what you are saying is that we should organize it and incorporate it more, even in the same school, not to know that Nazarene, choral, and then that other school, soccer. It should be equally, so that the kids have a wider choice.
Wider choice, yes. There must be paintings. There must be all forms, basically.
I agree. But that's more also on like a contemporary type of art, like formal music and that type of thing. But in Eswatini, we also have a very deep and rich history in arts, culture, and heritage. Just culturally at home, we sing, we dance, when we do a lot of cultural activities. But it's more something that you will learn at home. So even though the school system may not address it, somehow you get it at home. I would want to find out from Sis Bongiwe here, Tobile, hey, hi Bongiwe, to see, because you have taken a different route than most of us who are into the maybe like hip hop and whatnot. But in your music, you also fuse elements of traditional heritage instruments, like you play makoyane, stolotolo. I don't know if that part is represented in our school system. What would you say? Should that also be incorporated? And how did you end up not playing guitars? Why did you decide to start playing these instruments which are considered ancient and like for old people? Because you started playing as a very young person, right?
Yes, I was already older, because I discovered makoyane when I was already, first of all, my name is Toby there. Makoyane. Makoyane is the instrument that I play. That's not my surname, but that's my stage name. So I got interested in playing makoyane because it's just this long bow with the calabash and just one string, and then you just strike it, and then there's this sound. But the sound, my goodness, it's amazing. It's bigger than what you see. So for me, that was what intrigued me the most, because it was like, first of all, I heard it without even seeing it, without even knowing what was playing. But I was interested in the sound. Smiles Makama's song was playing, and I was like, what's, and then, because you can hear that it's a simple thing, just 2 chords, I think, but then there's the voice, his voice is also rich. And then when I heard that, I was like, I want to know what this is. And then a friend who was also playing the Makoya, the music, said, it's Makoyan, you don't know Makoyan? I said, I've never heard of that. And then she showed me, she took it out and she showed me, I think I was 18 at that time. Still lost in the American music, club music. And then after hearing that, I think I can easily say my world changed, because that's when I developed the ear of African music, not only the Makoyane alone, but just the African music instruments as well, the kora, your stolotolo, skelegehle, lugubu, all these instruments. Every time when you listen to them, even though you can rarely hear them because they are far from us, but every time you hear those instruments, you're like, but why are we here in Africa? Why is this not heard everywhere? Because it's so amazing, it's soothing, and it's healing. African music happens to be healing for many people. I can't even say for myself alone, because even in other countries, like European countries, they even have healing festivals where they get the African musicians to be part of, like especially the indigenous. Smiles Makama can tell you more about that. I think he's been a part of that. Getting back into the topic of having them in schools, I discovered Makoyane when I was 18. And in a way, good class. It's a shame. I'm a Liswati, born and bred Eswatini, and suddenly, oh, okay, I had never even heard the sound. I had never even seen it being played. And then suddenly when I heard it, I'm also in the journey of discovering myself. And then when I decided to pick this instrument, I remember when I bought it from the market because I wanted it to be close to my heart because of the sound. But when I bought it, I didn't know how to play it, obviously. And then you can imagine if I had seen it at school or learned it from school, how that could have enhanced my journey. Because even now, I'm still looked at this as this strange, is she okay kind of person when I'm carrying, because I don't drive, so I always move with my Makoyane, Bopas Renki, and everywhere. And every time, people feel like they interested, and some of them mock me. Some of them, they want me to play for them just because they've just seen me. So just play because I've seen you carrying this thing. But if we can have it normally, in schools, have young kids. I remember one day I was very pleased. I was coming from the theater club. I was so excited because there were kids, primary school kids. They were playing Lapabo Park View. And then this other kid, one of the Asian kids, saw me. He's like, "Oh, you're carrying Makoya." I think I was walking with you. And then you, anyway, yeah, but that's not important. But the kid, I even stopped there, spent some time with them because the kid was so excited to see this instrument. And I said, you know Makoyan? Yes, from where? From school. I was like, oh, really? Okay, so you know how to play it. They said, no, we only learn about it. We don't learn to play it. So imagine if they would learn to play, and who knows, we could have like a Makoyane orchestra in the first Makoyane orchestra maybe would come from the kingdom, like as in kids, because I'm sure there is out there. So
interesting. That's interesting, Toby, because also Maggie did mention that arts, culture, and heritage, the open space for cross-cultural connections and diversity. And Swaziland has a lot of, a bit of a large population of the Asian community. So also by attending through our schools, now with the incorporation, even though it's still at a lower level, they are learning more about our culture and they're excited about it, which is a good thing.
The excitement.
And also, I've also seen you don't only play the Swazi instruments. So it's because sometimes you play Storotoro. I remember you said this one is from Vietnam. I didn't even know that in Vietnam they play like similar to our African instruments. So it also opens you to look at the world and appreciate other cultures as well and incorporate that into yours. How did you come about an instrument from Vietnam? Because I thought it was, this one must be a local one.
Yeah, because Sitolotolo is ancient to many countries in the world. I was also surprised because I only discovered that when I was playing. I think I was in Joe's, it was in Moss actually. And then this, I think, Irish guy came and said, oh, you know how to play this? I also have mine. He took it out. Like we also played, and then we started playing together. And he was playing. He was playing. We also playing, but not like formally, but like this thing of I have this instrument. I know this instrument. And then it turned out because in Ireland is also an ancient instrument. In Africa, there's many countries where they are having stolotolo as an ancient instrument. The ones in Australia?
Yes, the Aborigines.
Aborigines. And also in Brazil, there's many countries. And then the Vietnamese also, they have it, especially, I think there it's played, I don't know, I've never been to Vietnam, but these friends of mine were in Vietnam for a holiday. And then they heard the sound. I think they were somewhere in the wild. And then they heard the sound. It's like, doesn't that remind you of Tobile? And then they both went to towards the sound. And then they found this old woman was playing it. And then that's how they got the instrument for me, because the sound reminded them of me. And they started telling the lady about me. And then I didn't ask them if they bought it or they were given, but they brought it for me.
That's very, very interesting.
Yeah,
very, very interesting.
So that's why when I don't usually play it with the band, that instrument, I like to play it alone because
it's very special.
Yeah, and it comes from Kashane, so I embrace it that way. But also with our rhythms, even if we're not playing the instruments themselves, our rhythms themselves, the Swati rhythms, Sands has them. Most of us, Maswati, we have them. We also connected because we Angunis. They also connect with the Zulu rhythms, Xhosa rhythms, Ndebele rhythms. We have, it's not like the same, but we have that.
It's a similar vibe.
Similar vibe, yeah. So you can imagine that when you teach now, when you teach those arts, especially the music in schools, you are broadening the child's, the child's creativity when it comes to music, because some of them won't even study the music maybe later in life, but they will having that rhythm, they can become anything also when it comes to being producers or being composers or writers, because it's so unique. Our rhythms are so unique. They can, when they are being introduced, imagine giving Quincy Jones a guitar line, Sands with that rhythm, and Nasei study shage. When if it's being studied.
Yes, you're free. You can even speak in Siswati.
I should have done that, Mosi. Long time. I'm busy. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Ngikubuka kwami labamfana nabafundiswa lo music latikolweni bamunya lesici sala Africa, which is what I think Mage said about the sense of belonging. It is angadi ngachaza kanjani but lokuthi nawuhamba nje la kulo leminye imihlaba la ngisengayihambi imihlaba lemitse but sengike ngahamba la kungasikho na eSwatini ngibonwe ngibantu abangasemaswati lokudadi kuthi ngiliswati kukwenta ukhonene ukuthi timpo letini lokudadi ngala masiko nanganivelaphi nangalobukhona makhono ethu simaswati lokuthi sine makhono ethu swabamba kanje kukwenta ukuthi noma ufika kiphi isiphi stage kuthiwe kuneligama lakho lapha phinze kunabo bani ngwewethu longatiwa uba nalokuthi ngefa longatiwa but nangiphuma lapha ndabeni yathi lelive ndabeni yathi lelive via lesici sala kangwale ndabeni ngitholile noma ningake ngive ukuthi ngithini kodwa nidabeni ngitholile ngiyasici nje sici ke wasibambe from ku grassroots level kuningi lo mfana loyo noma angangena endema classic sounds and hip hop and in lesici sakhe nangabe sho ukuthi sinalokubetheleka ukuthi eish lo muntu yena uliswati wow kude la ngeke ahloniphe khona ahlonishwe khona ngoba le ngale sense of belonging yakhe la ibambe kanje so vele nakufundzise wakubamba kuseseligotsha bathi ngeSiswati ligotsha lisesemanje
Yes.
kuningi lokunga ansimaningi nalama festivals nje lengesheya lokhanza ukuthi afuna tinto tangala Africa cabanga ke nasekukuningi ngenyalo kusese kuningi sasahluma and lokunye ukhanze ukuthi noma bathi bayangifuna ngibekise bathi bayangifuna sense ukhanzakala kusencane sebathola lomnyelo phosa afane na sense noma sibangifuna sebathola lomnyelo phosa afane nami nase kwakheke le nanjana lakithi sothwana lokuthi ubone ukuthi le backup yathi sinayo manje kusukela lesikolweni nalabami labangilandzelako bayeta nabo and kukwenta ukuthi ungavula noma ngangiphi kwana nawe leminyango lama festivals nalawo wona laba sima African festivals la lengeshe ingakhanda sekuthiwa Maswazi festival
Yes,
but
alright.
yeah
For our international audience, in essence, what Sister Tobile was saying is that when you get that sound, the essence of the sound and the rhythm that you will get from our culture and heritage, it gives you a unique identity and a strong sense or strong knowledge of self, which will make you unshakable and also confident to be able to stand on any stage worldwide, knowing that you know who you are, truly you have an identity. And if we put that into our school system, our kids will grow up ready to conquer any space in the world and be able to actually handle that kind of pressure. Yeah.
Universities, those big universities. Sekafundiswa ama-rhythms ala. Imagine that. Sekafundiswa because sebatabe sebamunye from primary and then automatically nakangena tertiary high school lomhlo uyasatha story sakhe nakathi tertiary suka lapho bafuna i-lecturer le Berkeley.
Yes, Berkeley School of Music.
School of Music. Uya-apply naye, uyathola naye, uyasibuyela nemadola ekhaya. Annoying, I would never stop talking.
No, it's good, it's good, it's good. But in the interest of time, we will try and conclude our statements now. But we would also like to encourage people who are watching there to participate in this debate by asking those questions and then finding out what's happening in their own African countries with regards to incorporating their own culture and heritage into their school system, and then share those experiences with us so that we can learn as Eswatini. And also, as Ms. Lopez said here, there are some steps that Eswatini has taken, and we are also sharing the little bit that we have with the artists, even the music that our artists are producing. If you listen to it, it has very deep meanings, and it's not just about the dancing. Senz was performing earlier, at the other function, and he was speaking about how, especially when the colonialists came here, we had to go and start working in the mines and being exploited with that by not knowing the value that whatever they were extracting here to make money. But if you put that thing in music, you can send that message easily so that people can understand it, and that music lasts for a long time. Even long after we're gone from this place, people will be able to remember, even though maybe we would have not have written it down. But a lot of the meaning and a lot of the knowledge is captured in our cultural heritage. I don't know if we're still on time, but I think right now it's 9 o'clock. So I would like people to actually send their questions onto our page and have the discussions amongst themselves. We will read them, and also we'd like to encourage people to, in the spirit of Africa Day, to hold such discussions in their respective communities. I would have loved to have your input in real time, but due to the time constraints and also due to the COVID regulations, we're not allowed to stay in one place for too long a time. So with those words, I would just like to have everybody else just say briefly thanks and farewell to our audience. I will start with you, Sense, and then Mari, you can follow, and Tobile, and then finally Mari, just to thank the people.
Thank you so much to everyone watching. Labasekhaya nalaba semaveni. It would be to encourage each and everyone in each and every country, in each and every household, to actually participate in arts activities at home, especially with the kids, so that we instill it in them at a young age. It actually even helps kids to stay out of the streets. Bekashito nje mage kuthi yabo labanye basestradini ngoba abakakhoni ukuthi bakhone kwenda nabo. So it's just to encourage it, and thank you so much, and happy Africa Day.
Thank you. No, ma'am.
Thank you so much, those people who are viewing us. We thank you for your time. Indeed, arts, culture, and heritage is very important to instill at a younger age, at a tender age, so that that child can identify and nurture his or her talent. Because it's not, we are not all gifted to get the white collar job. Arts contribute a lot to development and the economy of Africa. As Africa, we are very rich in culture, in arts, and our heritage is just amazing. So may I take this opportunity to wish you all a happy Africa Day. Thank you so much.
New Magi.
Oh,
Then
thank
Tole,
you
close off.
very much. I might just express myself in Eswatini.
Into the camera, Magi.
I just want to ngisacela kubuyela emva kancane nje ukuthi siyabonga, but mina ngiyabona ukuthi vele etikolweni, especially lama early levels, njengalo music vele kusho ukuthi siyababulala abantwana because asufundzisi. Yabona abantwana ba talented bayafuna ukuthi bahlabele, but kude laba ba encourage ako. Ngibekise nje ngalamasiko ethu eSiswati, ukhanza ukuthi kunanaba bommiso abangeni ku schedule, kunana music awungeni ku schedule, uyabona. Kani lo mfana kusasa unekudla ngakuloko lokuthi uyahlabela wenda lokwa njengasisitobile nangu-social stolotolo. Angithi lokho ngalokuthi kude lapha mina bengingacela nje ukuthi ingabe i-education ingasibonelela yini la etikolweni. Sibothishela music siyawuthanda. I am one of the music teachers ngawufunza bengiwenda, but at my own time funa ukuthi ngitinike isikhathi uma sesiphumile isikole ngicela bantwana, come let us meet, asihlabeleni, uyakubona, asendeni umiso, asendeni ama-plays, bo-poetry, bo-drama, konke lokho ungithishela kufuna utinikele. Kanti kube maybe sikhona lesikhathi la kule curriculum kufakwe ku-schedule ukuthi ngena ngalesikhathi from 1 to 2 nenda niyahlabelela, nenda umiso, niyahamba nekhaya ngesikhathi nalabanye bantu, uyakubona. If nje mina bengingacela vele ngicele ka-education ukuthi asebasinakelele kuleto tinto leto ngoba abantu bethu bayafa. Vele lugotshwa luse mandi. Sibonge kakhulu. Singathanza isikhathi esincane sibe singathanza kuchubeka. Siyathemba ngalenye ilanga Mlandvo uyosipha isikhathi lesikahle, i-COVID seyihambile. Sithandazela kona ukuthi i-COVID kayihambe. Thank you very much. Sibonga kakhulu kuba khona kulolu suku loluhle lolukhulu kangaka le-African Day Eswatini. Thank you.
Mbongiwe Thobile. Thobile, your final words and then we are off.
Firstly, it's thank you so much for this platform and the event itself. We thank you, Netim Yako, we thank you. And we hope there's more to come. And let's keep our African faces beautiful, and let's keep ourselves safe. And let's not forget who we are as Africans. Let's eat our food and enjoy our food as Africans. Enjoy our dress codes, enjoy our music. And yeah, let's have a happy Africa Day.
All right, thank you, Sis Bongiwe, and thank you to Sis Thobile. How again? And thank you to all of you who are viewing all across. It's because she's part of a group. It's her and Bongiwe, Spirits Indigenous. So they are like one person because they represent our indigenous music internationally. And you will have noticed here that we took our time to talk. That's also part of our being as a Maswati. We don't really like to talk fast. We like to sit down, discuss things critically. So you are enjoying the Swazi way, or Swazi time as they call it. I would like to thank our technical people on production, Daniel Toro, for the brilliant production that they are putting on. I would also like to thank Platinum Events, who provided the sound for the first part of the program, which had the formal speeches and some people in attendance. I would also like to thank our sponsors, Status Capital, Building Society, who have financed most of the productions today. And I would also like to thank Apipa Handcraft, Rainport Entertainment, and our host organization, the African Women's Peace and Development Foundation, for hosting this Africa Day Eswatini event for the 4th successive year. And most importantly, I would like to thank the people who were attending and the Eswatini National Trust Commission for allowing us to come and have this celebration inside this very historic and important place in the kingdom, which is preserving the things that we were talking about are in the background, all of these things. So you must come visit with your children and you will experience our true arts, culture, and heritage in a preserved state for hundreds and thousands of years to come. Happy Africa Day.
Happy Africa Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. We thank you.